If you're over 60 and you're serious about protecting your health, please take a second to subscribe to this channel and leave a like. It helps support this vital content and allows me, as a senior health specialist, to keep sharing the truths that many overlook. Now, let's get into today's topic, because what you think is helping you stay healthy might actually be working against you, especially in your own refrigerator. For decades, we've been told that refrigeration preserves freshness and prevents spoilage, and it does. But here's the hidden danger. Certain foods lose their nutritional power, taste, and even develop harmful properties when stored cold. And for older adults whose digestion, circulation, and immunity are more sensitive, the effects can be even more damaging. The very foods you refrigerate with good intentions might be dulling your energy, slowing your metabolism, or aggravating joint pain without you realizing it. Many seniors come to me asking, "Why do I feel more sluggish lately?" or "Why is my digestion unpredictable?" Often, the root is not some disease or aging process. It's habitual food handling mistakes, especially refrigerating the wrong things. Your fridge may be home to tomatoes stripped of antioxidants, garlic that's lost its allicin, or bananas whose resistant starches have completely vanished. And worse, these changes aren't visible. You see a healthy-looking food but get none of the benefit. In this series, I'll reveal the 10 common foods you should never refrigerate after 60, and I'll explain why, how they change chemically, and what they can do to your body. More importantly, I'll show you the right ways to store them, so you preserve nutrients that support joint health, blood pressure, immune strength, and brain clarity. If you care about staying sharp, mobile, and energized, don't skip this. Let's begin with the first culprit in Chapter 2. Tomatoes are often hailed as a superfood, especially for seniors. Rich in lycopene, vitamin C, and potassium, they've been linked to lower blood pressure, improved skin, and reduced risk of prostate issues. But here's what many don't know. The way you store your tomatoes can completely erase those benefits. And for men and women over 60, that's a serious loss because your body needs those nutrients more than ever. When you refrigerate tomatoes, their cell walls break down rapidly. This changes their texture and flavor, turning them mealy and bland. But the more important problem is what happens to the lycopene, the powerful antioxidant that supports prostate health, eye protection, and skin elasticity. Cold temperatures slow down the natural ripening process, blocking the transformation of lycopene into its bioavailable form, which is the one your body actually uses. For seniors, this matters. Lycopene doesn't just protect against oxidative stress. It plays a role in preventing DNA damage, lowering inflammation, and maintaining circulation. At this stage in life, every nutritional edge counts. If your tomatoes are losing their potency, you're not getting the cardiovascular or hormonal support your body may desperately need. It's like eating a shell of a fruit with none of the power. So what should you do instead? Store tomatoes at room temperature, out of direct sunlight. Let them ripen naturally on the counter. Once ripe, consume them within a few days, or if needed, cook them briefly into sauces or soups to increase the lycopene's absorption. It's a small shift with big results. And in the next chapter, I'll tell you about another senior favorite that's secretly sabotaging your digestion: garlic. Garlic has been praised for centuries as nature's medicine. From lowering blood pressure to fighting inflammation and supporting immune health, it's a staple in every senior's diet, for good reason. But if you're storing it in the fridge, you're likely canceling out its most powerful effects. And after 60, when your immune system and heart need extra support, that's a risk you simply can't afford. The magic of garlic lies in a compound called allicin. It's not present in the garlic until you crush or chop it, and even then, allicin is fragile. It forms through an enzymatic reaction when garlic is exposed to oxygen. But here's the key. Cold temperatures drastically slow or stop that reaction. So if you refrigerate your garlic before using it, it may never produce this life-saving compound at all. You think you're eating a health booster, but your body sees little to no benefit. Worse, refrigerated garlic tends to sprout faster. Those green shoots? They're a sign the garlic is trying to survive an unnatural environment. And while sprouted garlic isn't necessarily harmful, it becomes bitter, less potent, and more irritating to the stomach. something seniors with acid sensitivity or reflux should avoid. Plus, excess moisture in the fridge can cause mold or bacterial growth you may not notice until it's too late. So what's the fix? Store garlic in a cool, dry, dark place like a pantry or mesh basket, never in a plastic bag or sealed container. Keep it whole until ready to use, and after chopping, let it sit for 10 minutes before cooking to maximize allicin formation. These tiny habits add up to major health protection. In the next chapter, we'll talk about another food that seems harmless but becomes problematic in the fridge, your morning bananas. Bananas are a go-to snack for many people over 60. They're soft, easy to digest, and packed with potassium, a vital mineral for muscle function, blood pressure, and heart health. But there's one big mistake I see constantly. People refrigerate their bananas to make them last. Unfortunately, this habit doesn't just change the color of the peel, it disrupts the very nutrients your aging body depends on. When bananas are refrigerated before they fully ripen, the cold environment halts their natural conversion of starch into sugar. That means you're eating a fruit that's harder to digest and provides less immediate energy. Worse, once the banana is cold, its texture changes and enzymes that support gut health become less active. For seniors who already face slower digestion and weaker metabolism, this can contribute to bloating, irregularity, or fatigue, especially if eaten first thing in the morning. Another issue? Cold bananas can trigger mucus production and worsen conditions like acid reflux or postnasal drip. It might seem like a minor effect, but if you're struggling with chronic throat clearing or a persistent cough, your chilled bananas could be part of the problem. Not to mention their natural magnesium, so essential for muscle cramps and sleep, is better absorbed when the fruit is at room temperature. The solution is simple. Never refrigerate bananas until they're fully ripe. Let them ripen naturally on your countertop. Once ripe, eat them within 2 days or freeze them for smoothies if needed. For an added health boost, pair your banana with a handful of nuts or a spoon of nut butter. This slows glucose absorption and supports steady energy. In the next chapter, we'll tackle a seemingly healthy root that loses its power in the cold: sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes are one of the most powerful foods for men and women over 60. They're packed with fiber, beta-carotene, which your body converts into vitamin A, potassium, and complex carbohydrates that support sustained energy and brain function. But storing them in the fridge? That's a critical mistake. Cold temperatures trigger a chemical reaction inside sweet potatoes that not only ruins their flavor, but may compromise your health. Here's what happens. When you refrigerate sweet potatoes, the starches begin converting into simple sugars at an unnatural rate. That might sound good at first, but this conversion produces a hard texture, an overly sweet taste, and in some cases, a compound called acrylamide when cooked, especially if roasted or fried. Acrylamide is a chemical that forms from sugar and certain amino acids during high heat cooking and has been associated with inflammation and nerve damage in older adults. What's more, cold stored sweet potatoes lose part of their resistant starch, a unique type of fiber that feeds your good gut bacteria and helps maintain stable blood sugar. For people over 60, this resistant starch is essential for reducing constipation, managing weight, and protecting cognitive function. Without it, you might be getting calories without the gut or brain benefits that make sweet potatoes such a smart choice. To protect those benefits, always store sweet potatoes in a cool, dry, and ventilated space, but never in the fridge. Use a pantry or a basket in a dark corner of your kitchen. And when you cook them, choose baking or steaming over frying. This preserves the nutrients without producing harmful byproducts. In the next chapter, we'll uncover why another favorite root, onions, can lose their punch and even turn toxic when stored the wrong way. Onions are one of the most underestimated superfoods for seniors. They're loaded with antioxidants like quercetin, which supports blood pressure and reduces inflammation. They also help thin the blood naturally, improve circulation, and even fight certain cancers. But if you're tossing your onions into the fridge, thinking it'll keep them fresh, you may be doing more harm than good. Refrigerating onions can actually trigger spoilage, mold, and toxin production. Why? Onions are dense in moisture, and the cold, humid environment of your refrigerator accelerates condensation and softening. That dampness invites bacterial growth, sometimes invisible to the eye, and increases the risk of mold forming deep inside the layers. For seniors with weakened immune systems, unknowingly eating moldy or partially spoiled onion could irritate the stomach, disrupt digestion, or worse, cause inflammation that impacts your joints, heart, or prostate. Refrigerated onions also release more sulfuric compounds into the air and onto surrounding food, which can contaminate other items in your fridge, such as dairy or leafy greens. This not only shortens their shelf life, but may cause unexpected digestive distress when eaten together. And finally, the texture of refrigerated onions becomes rubbery, and their flavor turns harsh, so you're not getting the health benefits, nor the culinary enjoyment. So what should you do instead? Store whole onions at room temperature in a dry, well-ventilated area, away from potatoes, which release moisture and gases that spoil onions faster. Once an onion is cut, you can store the leftover portion in an airtight container in the fridge, but only for a couple of days. For optimal health, aim to use fresh onions often in cooked meals like soups, stir-fries, or roasted dishes. In our next and final chapter, we'll look at one last popular item that's often refrigerated, but should never be: tomatoes. Tomatoes are a cornerstone of senior nutrition. They're rich in lycopene, a powerful antioxidant linked to prostate health, heart protection, and lower inflammation. They also offer vitamin C, potassium, and folate, all of which support energy and immunity. But there's one mistake many seniors make that drains these benefits: storing tomatoes in the refrigerator. It might seem logical to keep them cold, but it's one of the worst things you can do for this fruit's flavor and nutritional value. When tomatoes are chilled below 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 degrees Celsius, they undergo what scientists call chilling injury. This affects their cell structure and disrupts the production of volatile compounds, the very molecules responsible for that deep, rich tomato taste and aroma. In just a couple of days, the texture becomes mealy, the skin turns rubbery, and the flavor goes flat. Worse, the antioxidant activity of lycopene may decline under these conditions, robbing you of the very protection tomatoes are known for. What's more, cold storage can halt the ripening process prematurely. This is critical for seniors who rely on ripe tomatoes for their natural sweetness and digestibility. An underripe, refrigerated tomato can be hard on the stomach, increasing acid reflux or indigestion, especially when eaten raw. Many seniors who think they can't handle tomatoes anymore are simply eating them at the wrong temperature and ripeness. The fix is simple: store tomatoes at room temperature, out of direct sunlight, and stem side down. This allows them to continue ripening, maintain their antioxidant power, and deliver the taste and texture nature intended. If you've already refrigerated them by accident, try roasting or slow cooking them to revive some flavor and nutrients. Coming up next, in our final chapter, we'll summarize the top foods you should always keep out of the fridge and reveal a simple kitchen habit that helps preserve your vitamins naturally. Now that we've explored the hidden dangers of refrigerating everyday foods, it's time to bring it all together. From bananas and garlic to olive oil, onions, and tomatoes, each of these items loses something vital when exposed to the wrong environment. Whether it's taste, texture, antioxidants, or crucial anti-inflammatory compounds, your fridge might be unintentionally working against your health. For seniors over 60, these subtle shifts matter more than ever, especially when it comes to preserving energy, hormonal balance, and digestive wellness. Let's quickly recap. Bananas lose their fiber-protective enzymes when refrigerated too early. Garlic becomes rubbery, mold-prone, and loses its immune-boosting allicin. Olive oil solidifies and degrades in flavor, while onions can develop mold and cause food contamination. Tomatoes, perhaps the biggest shock, suffer from chilling injury that destroys their nutrients and taste. These may seem like small details, but over time, they add up. Especially for seniors managing heart health, prostate function, or mobility, these mistakes can dull the impact of even the healthiest foods. So what's the solution? Create a designated room temp zone in your kitchen, a cool, shaded shelf or drawer where you store these critical items naturally. Pair it with proper airflow and avoid plastic bags that trap moisture. This simple step not only boosts flavor and longevity, but protects the nutritional integrity of your foods. When you stop putting everything in the fridge out of habit, you regain control over your nutrition and you make smarter, more strategic choices for your age and body. Finally, always listen to your body. If you're noticing more bloating, less energy, or weaker immune response, sometimes the culprit isn't a disease. It's how your food is stored and consumed. Stay informed, stay intentional, and keep nourishing your body the way it deserves. If this video helped you rethink your habits, share it with a friend, and be sure to check out our next episode, where we reveal the 5 hidden vitamin deficiencies that silently weaken seniors over 60.